BMW. Today, this brand is recognized worldwide for its automobiles, innovation, and engineering excellence. But few know the complete story of the company. This is a narrative about a period that forever changed BMW's trajectory. A time when many European companies became integral parts of wartime economies. A story about technological achievements that were ahead of their time, about engines that elevated aviation to unprecedented levels, about motorcycles that became legends of engineering thought, but also a story about a complex period in human history when millions of people across Europe found themselves involved in wartime production. Today, we explore BMW's historical role during World War II, without judgment, but with an understanding of the importance of preserving historical memory.
1936, Nürburgring, Germany. The legendary racing circuit welcomes a newcomer from BMW, the 328 Sports Roadster. Just 80 horsepower, weight under 800 kilograms, and yet, in its debut race, the 328 demonstrated superiority over more powerful competitors. This was a triumph of engineering philosophy, lightness, balance, and precision calculations. The BMW 328 achieved over 100 victories in 1937 alone. RAC Tourist Trophy, the Alpine Rally, dozens of international races. In 1940, at the legendary Mille Miglia, the BMW 328 Touring Coupe recorded an average speed of 166 kilometers per hour, a record for the 2-liter class that remains unbroken to this day. Only 464 examples were produced. Today, the BMW 328 is one of the most valuable collectible automobiles, a symbol of the golden era of automotive engineering.
During the 1930s, Europe experienced a period of significant industrial transformation. Germany, like many countries at that time, actively developed its aviation industry. BMW, which had experience creating aircraft engines since World War I, received an opportunity to return to this field. In 1936, the company acquired Brandenburgische Motorenwerke in Berlin-Spandau, a production facility with expertise in air-cooled engines. By 1939, a completely new plant opened in Allach, near Munich, one of the most modern aircraft engine factories in Europe at that time. Automobile production gradually decreased. Under wartime conditions, as was happening in many countries, industry reoriented toward military requirements. In 1941, as in other warring nations, civilian automobile production was halted. All industry operated within the framework of the war economy. The mid-1930s became a time of active aviation technology development worldwide. European engineers worked on creating more powerful and reliable engines. BMW developed the BMW 801, a radial engine with 14 cylinders arranged in a 2-row star configuration. Displacement, 41.8 liters. Power ranged from 1,500 to 1,900 horsepower, depending on the modification. The key innovation was the Kommandgerät system, an automated engine management system. This was a revolutionary concept for its time. A single control lever automatically coordinated fuel mixture, ignition timing advance, supercharger boost, and propeller pitch. For pilots, this meant significant simplification of control, the ability to focus on flying rather than numerous technical parameters. The BMW 801 became one of the most mass-produced radial engines of that period. Over 61,000 units were manufactured during production, an impressive scale for such complex technology. The BMW 801 became the foundation for the Focke-Wulf FW-190 fighter, one of the most technically sophisticated aircraft of its time. When the FW-190 first appeared in the skies in 1941, it demonstrated outstanding characteristics. Maximum speed reached 670 kilometers per hour. Rate of climb 17 meters per second. Armament included 4 20mm cannons and 2 machine guns. The aircraft was utilized across various theaters of operations, from Western Europe to the Eastern Front, from the Mediterranean to Scandinavia. Over 20,000 FW-190 fighters of various modifications were produced in total. The technical solutions implemented in the BMW 801 remain of interest for the history of aircraft engine development to this day. The early 1940s marked a search for new technologies in aviation. The concept of jet engines attracted engineers worldwide, from Great Britain to the United States. In Germany, several design bureaus worked in parallel. BMW created the BMW 003, one of the first turbojet engines to reach serial production stage. The design included an axial compressor with 7 stages, a combustion chamber, and a single-stage turbine. Thrust, 800 kilogram force, or 1,760 pounds. Engine weight, just 560 kilograms. This was a technological breakthrough. Jet engines had existed in theory since the 1920s, but only in the 1940s did they become operational. The first successful test run occurred in 1943. By mid-1944, serial production began. Approximately 3,500 units were manufactured before the war's end. This was new technology, and it had limitations. Engine service life was only about 10 to 15 hours of operation, but for that time, it was a significant technological step forward. After the war ended, BMW 003 technologies became the subject of study for many countries. Soviet engineers gained access to factory blueprints and samples. Based on this technology, the RD-20 engine was created, which became one of the first Soviet serial production jet engines and was used on the MiG-9 fighter. French specialists also studied the BMW 003 design. The result was the development of the SNE-CMA ATAR engine, which was subsequently used on various French aircraft, including the famous Mirage 3. The British and Americans, who already had their own jet engine programs, nevertheless analyzed German achievements and incorporated certain technical solutions into their own developments. The BMW 003 represents an important milestone in the history of jet aviation development, an example of how technologies from one era become the foundation for the next generation of engineering solutions. Interesting fact: today, original BMW 003 examples can be seen in aviation museums around the world, including the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in Washington and the Deutsches Museum in Munich. Parallel to aviation developments, BMW continued producing ground vehicles. One of the most interesting products was the BMW R75. This was a motorcycle with a unique technical concept. A parallel twin boxer engine with a displacement of 750 cubic centimeters developed 26 horsepower. But the real highlight was the transmission. The R75 featured drive not only to the motorcycle's rear wheel, but also to the sidecar wheel, a concept rare even in modern motorcycle engineering. A differential with lock and an 8-speed gearbox, including 2 reverse gears, provided mobility in the most difficult conditions. Maximum speed was 95 kilometers per hour. The motorcycle could overcome obstacles up to 40 centimeters high and climb slopes with gradients up to 30 degrees. A total of 16,500 units were produced until 1944. The R75 was used in various climatic conditions, from the hot climate of North Africa to the frosts of Eastern Europe. A special Sahara modification existed, with enhanced dust protection. The technical concept of the R75 proved so successful that after the war, it was adopted as a basis by various manufacturers. The Soviet M72, which was produced for decades, was largely based on the R75 design. The American company Harley-Davidson also created an XA prototype with similar configuration. Today, the R75 is a desired object for collectors of historical vehicles. Restored examples are regularly displayed at classic vehicle exhibitions around the world. Interesting fact: many technical solutions from the R75, including the concept of sidecar wheel drive, are studied by modern engineers when developing specialized, high-mobility vehicles.
The following section is devoted to complex historical circumstances of wartime. Material is presented for educational purposes.
Part 5. Social context of the era. World War II changed the economy of all participating countries. Industry throughout Europe and other regions of the world was mobilized for military needs. During this period, millions of people in various countries worked in military factories. This concerned all warring sides, from the USA to the USSR, from Great Britain to Japan. In Germany, as in occupied territories, the situation was particularly complex. By the war's end, industry experienced an acute shortage of labor, since many men had been drafted into the army. BMW, like practically all large industrial enterprises of that time in Europe, faced this reality. By the war's end, the composition of the workforce had significantly changed. According to historical data, by 1944, a substantial portion of the workforce at BMW factories consisted of people working within various wartime programs. This included prisoners of war, workers from occupied territories, and concentration camp inmates.
Working conditions at military factories of that time varied greatly. For concentration camp inmates and forced laborers from occupied territories, they were particularly harsh. Historical research shows that the forced labor system in Nazi Germany affected approximately 12 million people throughout Europe. This was a large-scale practice in which thousands of enterprises were involved. It's important to understand the historical context. At that time, companies operated within a totalitarian system, where refusal to cooperate with state programs was virtually impossible. This is not a justification, but a statement of historical reality. After the war, it took decades before the complete picture of these events became known. Many archives were closed or lost.
Since the 1990s, a process of open investigation of this historical period began. Many German companies, including BMW, participated in programs to study their historical past. In 1999 to 2000,
The International Foundation, Remembrance, Responsibility, and Future was created, in which more than 6,000 German companies participated. BMW contributed to this foundation, which provided compensation to former forced laborers. In 2016, in the year of its centennial anniversary, BMW conducted a large-scale historical investigation of this period and presented the results to the public. The company opened access to its archives for independent historians. Since 2020, the BMW Group Museum in Munich operates a permanent exhibition called Place of Remembrance, an educational space dedicated to this period of history. Visitors can learn about specific historical events and the fates of people. This is an example of how modern companies approach complex chapters of their history through openness, research, and education.
The history of BMW during World War II is part of the broader history of how industrial companies around the world became involved in the military events of the 20th century. From a technical standpoint, the developments of that time were indeed outstanding. The BMW 801 advanced aircraft engine construction. The BMW W03 became one of the pioneers of the jet era. The R75 demonstrated new possibilities in motorcycle technology. These technologies subsequently found application for peaceful purposes and contributed to the development of post-war aviation and vehicles. After 1945, BMW had to start practically from scratch. Factories were destroyed or dismantled. Production of military equipment was prohibited by the Allies until 1948. The company was reborn, focusing on peaceful products. First motorcycles, then automobiles. Today, BMW is a global company producing over 2.5 million cars per year and is one of the leaders in electric vehicles and sustainable development. Studying history is important not to judge the past by the standards of the present, but to understand context and learn from experience. History shows that companies exist within a specific historical and political context, and how they relate to their past through openness, research, and education is an important part of their development. This story reminds us of the importance of preserving historical memory, not for accusations, but for understanding and learning. Thank you for your attention.